What's up, my fellow Michiganians, Michiganders, whatever you happen to call yourselves? Welcome back to Wolverine State Sports Talk. And I'm sorry I've been on a little hiatus. I've been moving for the past week, and finally I'm all moved in. And as you can see, I have a brand new setup. I'll have this set up for about 5 months, and then I'll be taking Wolverine State Sports Talk to the Wolverine State. That's right, I'll be moving back to Michigan after I graduate, so I'm very excited about that. Very excited to be back where I grew up, and I can't wait. So I'm very excited about this football season. In case you didn't know, Hard Knocks for the Detroit Lions comes out in 5 days, so I'm very excited about that. I've heard from everybody that the culture from Dan Campbell has improved. We're going to get to see that on tape. It's going to be nice to see what he's like in practice and how intense he is and how encouraging he is and really why the players like him so much. So I'm excited to see that. This season's going to be a much better season for Detroit than last year, and I'm very excited. So I was thinking about what should I talk about for this team. I could talk about training camp and what I expect out of the preseason, but the truth is a lot of that would be redundant because I think we all know what we want to see. We want to see Aiden Hutchinson dominate. We want to see the young guys continue to get better. We want to see guys avoid injuries. To me, that's the three biggest things, and I felt like that would kind of be redundant. So instead, I decided to do a prediction video. And this one's going to be interesting because I've been saying in my previous videos I think this is a 5 or 6 win team, and I don't think this is a great football team. Do I think it's better than last year? Absolutely. But I don't think this is a great team, and I don't really think we're ready to compete for a postseason spot yet. But then I saw the USA Today, and they laid out a prediction poll, and they had the Lions going 8-9. So hovering around that 500 mark, and that would be close to getting the 7th seed. And I thought, there is absolutely no way. This team has improved, but not that much. Then I looked at the schedule, and I analyzed it, and I thought, yeah, actually 8-9 makes a lot of sense. I thought that this would be a 5 or 6 win team, but the reality is this schedule for the Lions is one of the weakest in the league, and it's about time the league gave us a weak schedule. It seems like we're always having the toughest schedule. It's interesting because the beginning of our schedule is pretty tough, but then towards the end it gets a lot easier. And there's a lot of teams that we should absolutely beat. Playing the Bears twice definitely helps. And you're going to see once I bring up the next screen, what games I think this team will win and lose. And I'll give you my score predictions as well for all these games. All right, so here is the schedule for the Detroit Lions in 2022. And as you can see, the first game is against the Eagles at home. Now, personally, I thought before the season that we could win this game, but now looking at some of the moves the Eagles made, I think this will be a much tougher game than a lot of us expected, and I don't see us winning this game. The Eagles did some great things in free agency. They signed Bradbury at corner. Obviously they traded for A.J. Brown in the offseason. The truth is this Eagles team should be a double-digit win team, and the reality is Jalen Hurts has a lot of talent around him. This offensive line is great for Philadelphia. The receiving core is much, much better than 2 years ago. And even though this game's at home, I don't think the Lions have what it takes to beat the Eagles. I think it'll be a close game because Detroit is playing at home on opening day, and they always seem to play up to their competition. But I'm going to go Eagles 27-21 final. The next week, we play the Commanders. Now, the Commanders have some good players, but I think overall the team is not great. Obviously Carson Wentz is not a bad quarterback, but if you look overall, I say that this offense is about a B-, C+ offense. The tight end group for this team is not very good. The wide receiver core outside of Terry McLaurin leaves a lot to be desired. Just not a whole lot of explosive playmakers other than Terry McLaurin. Antonio Gibson's not bad, but then you look at the other side of the ball. I think that the back seven is the biggest concern of this team. I like the two safeties they have in Bobby McCain and Carmen Curl, but overall the back seven I think will be a big mismatch for him. And I see T.J. Hawkinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown having a big day with short passes. I'm going to give the Lions the win in this one, 24-21. I think we bounce back and go 1-1 against the NFC East. All right, so the next game is going to be at Minnesota, and I think that this Minnesota team is extremely talented, and I think most people know that. They never seem to play up to their expectations. But under a new coach, I think that that's exactly what they needed. I think that they made all the right hiring decisions, and this team will go as far as they don't beat themselves. And the reality is they shot themselves in the foot last year. This Vikings team should be competing with the Packers for the NFC North. So I don't think that the Lions are quite on the Vikings level yet. Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback than people give him credit for. He has great options at wide receiver. The offensive line isn't great, and I think that will keep us in the game. But overall, the Vikings did a great job improving their defense with some free agent signings. So I say the Lions lose this one 23-30. Next week, we play the Seahawks, and I actually think that this is one of the weakest teams on the Lions' schedule. As you know, Seattle just traded Russell Wilson, so this is going to be a complete rebuild. And this whole team really doesn't have anyone that scares you other than DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. This offensive line is terrible. And I know that they dominated us last year on the ground, but the reality is we were playing with a bunch of second and third stringers. A lot of guys were out with injury, out with COVID. So if everybody stays healthy, I don't see Drew Lock giving us a whole lot of problems. This defense isn't great other than the safety position with Diggs and Adams, but I see the Lions winning this football game 30-22, and I think that this game won't be as close as the score indicates. I say that the Seahawks score a late touchdown, but the Lions should win this football game, and now we're 2-2. Next week, New England Patriots. Now, the Patriots don't really have a lot of great players, but they have a lot of very, very good players, and they have a great offensive line. One of my favorite guys, Mike Onwenu, who played at the University of Michigan, is an absolute beast at guard. They just drafted Cole Strange. This offensive line is among one of the best in the NFL, and I think that that's going to give us a lot of problems. I think that the Vikings won't have any problem scoring against us. They have a lot of good receivers, not a lot of great receivers, but everybody on that team, would be a second or third option on most teams, and this is just what the Patriots do. Now, defensively, I don't think the personnel is great for New England, but they always seem to play above their personnel because the coaching is so good there with Bill Belichick. So I don't see the Lions winning that game on the road. I'm going to go New England 35, Detroit 29. That drops us to 2-3. Next week, we play at the Dallas Cowboys. And I don't see us having a chance in this game personally. Dallas is coming off a 12-5 season, and this should be a team that wins 12 or 13 games. This offense is absolutely loaded. I don't know how good Ezekiel Elliott will be. He's kind of gone on a downward trend the past few years, but Tony Pollard has stepped up for them. And otherwise, this is a very, very talented offense with a great offensive line. The defense is pretty darn good, too. That linebacking core is absolutely insane with Micah Parsons, Anthony Barr, and Leighton Vander Esch. All three of those guys would be great linebackers on any team, and all three of them are on the Cowboys. So, we don't have the short passing game. This is going to be the game I think we need Jamal Williams back. I'm not sure if he's going to be back by then. Otherwise, I don't see this game being very close. I'm going to go Dallas 38, Detroit 28. And that's going to drop us to 2-4. All right, so then we go back home after a little road trip we play the Miami Dolphins. And you might be thinking this game might be another blowout, but the truth is the Dolphins aren't as good as the hype that they're getting. I still need to see more from Tua Tagovailoa. I think that he's still got a lot to prove. He hasn't really had a great season yet. He should have a great receiving core with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and then, of course, Mike Gesicki at tight end. But this offensive line is not very good. They have some weak spots with Austin Jackson. So for that reason, I think that the Lions can keep this game close. And I don't think the Dolphins' defense is great. But I think that Tyreek Hill is just going to be too much for this team. He's got way too much speed. It's going to be a problem. I'm going to go Dolphins 28, Lions 25. So we're going to be dropped to 2-5. So we're not looking so good so far. But the schedule starts to get easier after this game. Next week we play the Packers. And, I know we beat the Packers the last game last year. But let's be real. They didn't have their starters for the second half. Detroit might play them tough, but we're bound to lose a game by a significant margin. So I'm going to put the Packers winning this game handily, 28-17. We're 2-6. And, for the Packers, this is Aaron Rodgers' last ride, and he's going to give everything he has this season. I just get the feeling that his career is almost over. So the Packers The Packers' championship window is closing, so they're in desperation mode. This is a very important season for them. And this is where the schedule starts to get a lot easier. Now we go to the Chicago Bears, and finally, we're getting a game that we match up very well in. And I think that the Bears will play us tough because it's on the road. But overall, there's nobody on that offense that scares me. I know Justin Fields, a lot of people like him, but he doesn't have any great receivers to throw to. Darnell Mooney isn't exactly a big threat, and neither is David Montgomery. This offensive line for Chicago is not great. Defense isn't great. I say the Lions win this one 17-14 in a low-scoring affair. So now we're 3-6, and then another game that we should easily win at the New York Giants. Well, there's no easy wins in the NFL, but it's a game we match up well in. And this Giants team is kind of in shambles right now. Daniel Jones doesn't scare me. Saquon Barkley is coming off of some injuries, and really that was the whole identity of their team. While I think they had a great NFL draft, I don't think that the Giants are ready to compete at a high level, and I think that the Lions are a step ahead of them in their rebuild. So I'm going to go Detroit 31, New York 20. And now we're 4-6, and now we're getting back to the 500 range. Then we have a tough game going back home, the Buffalo Bills. The Bills outmatch us on paper, but I have a weird feeling Detroit will stay in this game. We always play up to the competition, and it kind of just feels like the Chiefs game years ago where the Lions managed to stay in the game despite being completely outmatched. But we're not winning this football game. I'm going to go Bills survive 28-26 as the Lions fail a late 2-point conversion and Detroit drops to 4-7. Now we get a game we should win. Staying at home, we face the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Jacksonville really, I don't think they have a lot going for them. Trevor Lawrence is back, but the offensive line still isn't great. Overall, they're still a rebuilding team, and I think they're kind of in the spot that we were last year. Not a whole lot of talent, trying to see who can be on the team and who can't be. The truth is they need to acquire a lot of talent. They have a brand new head coach. I like Doug Peterson, though. I think that he can do some good things, but not enough to get this Jags team to be competitive. So I have Detroit winning that one 33-23, and now we're up to 5-7. The next week, our second game against the Vikings at home, and I don't see us winning this game either. Vikings championship window is closing too. Kirk Cousins isn't going to be around forever. He's approaching his upper 30s. They are going to have to splurge on Justin Jefferson, and they're going to have to splurge on Adam Thielen or let him walk. And they don't have Rick Spielman anymore at GM, so there's no guarantee that they're going to get these draft picks right. So for the Vikings, it's kind of like the Packers. You're kind of in a desperation season where you have to put up or shut up. And, listening to this, the Lions aren't going to be great this year, but it seems like the future of the NFC North is bright. But talking about this game, I have the Vikings winning this one 28-20. Getting revenge on last year's tough home loss. So the Lions will drop to 5-8. Next, I think we could win all 4 of these games on the schedule, the rest of these 4 games. At the Jets. The Jets, I like Robert Saleh a lot. I think he's done a great job there. But talent-wise, I think we're ahead of them. We're ahead of them in the rebuild. Getting those extra first-round picks definitely helped us accelerate our rebuild. We're going to have a healthy Jameson Williams, and the Jets defense is absolutely atrocious. I don't think that they're going to get significantly better. So I see the Lions winning this one 26-18, despite a pretty good draft from the Jets and a pretty good future for them, even though this season might not be very good. So the Lions will be 6-8. Next we go to Carolina, and this is going to be a tough game. But I see the Lions winning this one. I mean, tough as in it's going to be a pretty evenly matched game. The Panthers obviously have DJ Moore, who's very good, but the reality is that offense is in shambles. They don't really have a quarterback. They signed Baker Mayfield, but I need to see more from him. Really, this Panthers team doesn't have anyone that scares me. The defense isn't great. So I'm going to go with the Lions winning this one, 29-24, and we're going to improve to 7-8. I think this is a game that maybe could go either way, but, because it's on the road. But I don't really see anything in the Panthers that strikes any fear other than Mr. DJ Moore. Next, we have the Bears at home, and I think we should win this football game. So I have us winning a close one, 21-17. It's going to be another low-scoring game, and the Lions will be 8-8. So right there, Because the schedule was pretty easy towards the end, three very winnable games, we're in pretty good position. Now, the last game we play at Green Bay, and here's where it gets interesting. If Green Bay has already clinched the NFC North, they're going to rest their starters, and if they rest their starters, the Lions will win. However, I think that the Vikings are going to be competing with the Packers for that to win the NFC North, so that's going to mean that the Packers are going to play their starters most likely. So if the Pack plays their starters, I don't think we win that game. I think we'll keep it close. I'm going to go Packers 31, Lions 28. So the final record is 8-9, just like the USA Today predicted. So this is a team that can make some noise. Now I will say this: if this team finishes short of 8 wins, am I going to freak out? Am I going to say fire Dan Campbell, fire everybody? No, this isn't the season to do that yet. The reality is the Lions are a bottom 20 team with one of the easiest schedules in the league. We're at a time right now in the NFL where there's a lot of bad teams, and the Lions are playing a lot of those bad teams, so we can take advantage of that. I think that 7-8 wins is very realistic for this team, possibly even 9 or 10 if we beat a couple teams we shouldn't beat. But my expectations are still pretty moderate, but I think that there's reason for hope that we could possibly get that 7 seed. And it's definitely a sign that we moved in the right direction because we have improved a lot. We really have. And we put ourselves in a position where we can be almost 500. So kudos to Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell for improving this team, and I can't wait to see how it turns out this season. Week 1 against Philadelphia, if we win that game, we should be absolutely ecstatic. And maybe it's a sign that we're further along in our rebuild than we thought. But I'm keeping it realistic. I say 8 wins is 8 to 9 wins is probably the most realistic. Actually, 7 to 9 wins is probably the most realistic. Maybe a team on the schedule we didn't think was very good is going to step up and be pretty good. We'll probably beat someone we shouldn't beat and then lose to someone that we should have beaten, but that's just the NFL. That's the way it works. So 8-9 is my final prediction for this team. All right, thank you all for watching. Can't wait for Hard Knocks in 5 days. Football comes on tonight in just a little bit. Y'all take care.